Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of my new series, Mad Sounds. This would ideally be like a podcast show, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube, where me and Sean from Rewind Reviews talk about music news, other music-related topics, maybe go on some tangents. We'll see. Sean, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing alright.
Okay, so would you
Um,
mind, so since this is on my channel, would you mind telling the viewers a little bit about yourself, what you do?
okay, well, I'm Sean. As you can probably tell from the channel name Rewind Reviews, I review music. And I don't know, that's about all. I'm a bit boring apart from that.
Cool. Okay, so we've got a few. We're experimenting on the first episode here, as you can tell. And we're also going for like sort of a free-flowing kind of vibe, as opposed to one thing that I was talking to you about a little bit earlier is that I don't want this to be kind of a repeat of just sort of us going back and forth. Like, this is a thing. I think this. I agree. I also think this. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Moving on. And just repeat that 3 times for every show. That'd be kind of boring.
Yeah, that would
So,
just
yeah.
be completely boring. We don't
Yeah.
want to be just like the news site that reported the article in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is why I feel like the topics we cover here would maybe not be the most immediate like front page news stories. There's obviously going to be a couple, like the first one we're going to be talking about here. But it is going to veer a little bit left. But yeah, we're just kind of finding our way with this whole thing since this is the first episode and all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've seen like the Absolute Punk podcast or pretty much it, if you're talking about movie related stuff, then you probably get a good idea of what Mad Sounds is going to be about. Okay, so without further ado, let's get this thing started. The first topic here is that new albums are now going to be released on Fridays, at least according to the IFPI, who are officially making that the case this summer because, as you guys might know, in some countries, albums are released on Fridays. Some countries, like you guys, they're released on Mondays. And over here in the U.S., just because everything needs to be a little different over here, they're released on Tuesdays. So, what are your initial thoughts on this?
I think this is fantastic, personally, because as you said, for us it's released on Mondays, and often, especially American bands, sometimes they'll have their album coming out on a Tuesday in America, like you would, and then because the next Monday is 6 days after that, we have to wait 6 days for the album to be able to buy it, which is poor in my opinion.
Yeah, and something else to kind of bring up is that as I feel like some people might kind of brush this off as kind of a weird or insignificant news story, since not many people buy physical albums, at least not as much as they used to. But in a
Mm-hmm.
way, it makes a lot of sense, like you're saying, just because, I mean, with this whole leak culture we're in now, where like the entire world is connected, and the second like one person gets an email with files of the album, it'll be on YouTube within an hour after that. And really, it just makes sense for all albums to be released on the same day because, again, we are all so connected, and like now because US is the last day to get their releases, pretty much any album can be leaked a few days before and really damage the album sales. So in a way, this could kind of maybe not decrease piracy, but maybe decrease the rate of it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think it'll stop piracy in any way, but it
Oh
could
no.
slightly help and have more people going out and buying things. Because you know, if it's out there and it's been out there for a few days and you know it is, you don't want to wait.
Yeah, exactly. Like even for me, who as a guy who does go to record stores on a pretty regular basis, like the temptation is very real to just like rip it off YouTube or I don't know, BitTorrent or something.
I mean, yeah, personally for me, I still buy physical CDs and records and stuff, but I still listen to my music digitally first to make sure that I like the album before I go and buy it. And I just think this will help piracy quite a bit without stopping it, but it'll help, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So you never know if there might be more than one platinum album this year. Hopefully, I mean in the US anyway. I'm not sure how it is over there. But I mean, okay. So I guess we'll. So I guess the final verdict here is this is a good idea.
Oh, definitely a good idea. For me, I know like some shops were saying, they'll like Target saying we'll stop selling music completely if you do this and all that. And
Which is ridiculous. Like
I don't get it.
I remember there was this one guy from some organization that said like this is gonna push niche music out of the equation or something, and I just don't see the connection.
Yeah,
Like
I didn't get
how
it.
it like how is all albums being released on the same day kind of cutting out something that's pretty much irrelevant at this point, that being national release dates? Like
Hmm.
how does that like cause some classism in music? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I wasn't making the connection. Obviously, I'm not a business person, and there probably is something behind his argument. Otherwise, he wouldn't say it. But I'm not seeing what the connection is. And it just makes sense to have a release date for everyone at the same time rather than in different countries, because it feels like we are more, instead of being separate countries, we feel very connected now, as you said. So it should be the same.
Yeah, exactly. I might like follow up next week, but I might go to my personal favorite record store locally, Lou's, and ask the clerk there what they think about it, because that would be kind of an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think there's much else to say, so let's just move on to
Alright.
our next topic. So, in case you've been living under a rock the last week, Blink-182 has been going under some drama the last few weeks.
Yeah, I've heard
Uh,
about it.
and now I'm not going to sum up all of it because I actually did like a whole hour-long discussion of it with Era TV when it was all going down at first. But just kind of sum it up in around 30 seconds. Basically, ever since the reunion, there has been some kind of tensions within the band, like of constantly delayed recording sessions and stuff like that. And it's no secret that Tom seems to kind of prefer his project Angels and Airwaves over doing Blink-182. So it all just kind of came to a head when it was announced that Tom was leaving the band, and then it just turned into everyone butting heads in the band between Mark, Tom, and Travis. Um, Mark and Travis were doing interviews for a bunch of different sites, basically just letting the fans know what was going on, and it's just turned into this huge crap show, essentially. And now, the latest news, in addition to Travis doing an interview with the site Alternative Nation, and actually, this kind of my lame claim to fame, that my buddy Riley did the interview, which is pretty cool, that basically Tom was talking earlier on that he recorded some demos that he was doing for Blink-182, and now he's releasing it in a collection called To the Stars, Odds and Sods, I think, basically as if it were a legit new album from him. There's bundles on the website called tomdelong.me, obviously. There's vinyl versions of it. There's T-shirts. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is a little questionable to me and a lot of people from what I'm seeing.
um, I don't know how to really feel about this. Like, obviously, he probably did parts of the demos. Obviously, he was a part of them, but they aren't his. They're a separate bands, and I don't think he should release them.
It's funny. I never really thought about that argument of it. I mean, what I've been seeing and what I personally got out of it is that this is a total cash grab. Like, it feels like after the world sort of turned on him and vilified him over the last recently a little bit, he's just trying to desperately do something to stay musically relevant, just because no one really cared about that Los Angeles and Airwaves album. So now he's just releasing anything he can for a quick buck, which are quite literally unfinished songs. I mean, and now I feel like people might have the argument that a lot of bands release demos as albums, and no one really complains about that. I mean, just take a look at what Green Day did last year with Demolicious. But you got to take into account that those are like different versions of songs that have already been released, so it could be like cool little take on them. For this, there is no like official version. These are just like, for all we know, just little ideas that he had and is just gonna sell for $10 a pop, and that just feels really shady to me.
Yeah, I didn't actually think about that argument. As you say, you didn't think about mine. I hadn't thought about that, and yeah, it's definitely a cash grab because they aren't full songs, fully fleshed out ideas. They're just little things that you've got put together, and then you're just releasing that for money and everything. It feels very much like he's just trying to stay relevant, and that's all.
I just feel like Tom is just completely unself-aware in this whole situation. Like, his head has gone completely out of the stratosphere, and now I wasn't going anywhere with that.
I don't know, man. I'm not even a massive Blink fan, and so I'm not going to be checking this out. I'm just not interested in it. If I'm gonna listen to anything Tom DeLonge or Blink related, it's going to be their proper albums because I don't care about demos. They're not proper songs.
You know what? You know what? I feel I'm just gonna maybe listen to some of the songs from this on YouTube because I'm not paying for this. Like, even I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard Blink fan, but I'm still a fan. So this would be kind of interesting to hear, but I would not want to. I feel like this is actually kind of a case where piracy might be a better thing.
Yeah.
Just because, come on, I'm not paying for your freaking scraps,
I mean, I might listen to a couple songs if he releases a single or two, maybe. I might listen to that, but I don't care. I don't care anymore.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you
know?
at all.
Come into contact with aliens. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And and one more thing. He announced a little bit ago that he's going to be opening a To the Stars media store here in Encinitas, California, where the flagship store for his store Macbeth is. And given that I live like 10 minutes away from there, there's no way that I'm not going to go to that. Like, as much crap as we're talking about, realistically. So again, I might follow up on a future episode when that opens and just kind of give you a little idea of how it is,
That'll be interesting. Great to see. So, what is actually that shop? Like, what is it? What's it about?
I don't know, really. I mean, he just posted one picture on Facebook, and he just kind of said there's like a bunch of apparel and stuff there. So it might be next to Macbeth store. I'm not really sure what it entails, but we'll see.
Tom DeLonge Merc, great. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That sounds exclusive. Okay, so anything else you have to say on that, or should we move on to our next thing?
No, there really isn't much, because as I said, I just don't care. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you had some stuff to say about these. I guess this wasn't one of them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, and our third and final topic, man, this was going quicker than I thought. We should probably put in some segments. You know about that snobby record store clerk that you have at your local record store? Well, there is a reason why he got that way, because he has encountered a lot of stupidity in his day, as seen in this, frankly, hilarious article that was posted. Again, the sources for all these articles are going to be linked in the description if you're curious. But basically, this record store clerk in particular revealed that since 2002, he's kept a journal of all of his stupidest customer encounters, and like I said, it's pretty freaking funny. Now, I asked for you to write down a few of your favorites. Would you mind reading those?
Oh yeah, I can. I just scroll down. Awkward pause. Awkward pause. Awkward pause. All right. So yeah, some of my favourites in these, we had a customer. Do you have CDs for turntables? That one just. I don't get.
And going right off of CD mechanics, we have, why are there only 12 songs on this CD? That's just how many songs are on it. So there's 6 songs per side?
I don't get it.
What do you mean?
How are people so... How do you not know how CDs work? I don't understand.
I guess if you've been in a time capsule for 30 years, but yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, I
What's
suppose
your
because it's such a big part of my life. I suppose it just feels weird.
yeah?
People want to know.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just visiting my aunt a couple weeks ago, and I told her that I put out an EP last year, and she's like 50 something, and she didn't know, and didn't know when the EP was, and that just kind of blew my mind.
I meet a load of people who don't know what EPs are, and I don't know why. I don't
Just
get it.
outside our world, you know. Okay,
hmm
so, but there are some less forgivable things, like I was gonna save this for last, but screw it. Do you guys sell punk like MXPX and Creed?
Oh yeah, so I want to have that note it down as well. Like, come on, I don't get it. That's just completely unbelievable. Did you see the one about the that old woman going in and taking that pizza?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't write that down there because, like the guy said, that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of cool. Like, there was some really just loads of stupid ones. Is this the record place? Yes. Can you tell me how to get a record deal? I do rap.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I feel like the funny thing about that is just the wording. I do rap. Like, if you do rap, if you say it as I do rap, then you don't do rap.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could just be a bit more sophisticated about it.
Yeah.
I make alternative hip hop. You just sound better instantly.
Yeah. I'm looking for a country singer. The last name is Redding, and I think the first name is Otis.
Uh,
Do you have any Beatles CDs? No, wait. I guess they didn't have video cameras back then.
oh yeah, I saw that one. It wasn't that long ago. Come on. I really kind of want to work in a record store after seeing this, just to have those experiences.
I want to work
No,
in a record store, but for so many other reasons.
but I mean, it's fun. It'd just be fun in general.
I mean, just give you an idea, I turned in an application for Hot Topic not too long ago, just because I want to work in a place that sells music.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it'd be
kind of
great.
desperate. Yeah. And the last one I've written down here, going back to a white woman hands my coworker John 3 CDs, and he tells her the total without using the register. She pays and says, "That was impressive." John says, "What was?" The woman says, "I never met a black guy that can add numbers without using a calculator."
That one was ridiculous. Still, you can't deny how stupid these people are and how kind of just that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Creed, Creed.
Creed. Freaking Creed.
I mean, there was some less.
Monsters, water brown.
I mean, there were some
Any
less stupid ones in there, but
any
they were
excuse to
still
do a
kind of.
Scott Stapp impression.
You know, fair enough. Fair enough. I get you.
Yeah. What were you saying? Sorry.
I mean, there were some that were kind of a bit less stupid in there and more just clueless, and they felt a bit more. But some of them, like, I can't believe that some of these people were doing this and it wasn't for a joke.
Yeah.
You know, are
Yeah.
you the
Like,
manager? Yes. Okay. There's a Beatles album. It's really rare. It's worth a lot of money. Do you know which one it is?
and I think there was another one that I didn't have written down that was like, this lady just put out a song. Can you tell me what it is?
And then just expect an answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just bottom line, that's probably the best way to put it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, as much as I don't want to come off like some elitist or snob, it's just, come on.
Mhm. I mean,
Okay.
I don't
So,
really want to come off that way either, but in the end, I kind of am, and it annoys me.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Deal.
I experience those kind of things every day, just talking to normal people.
Yeah. Essentially. It's funny.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm in this weird musical middle ground where, like, whenever I go to like any public place that's not music related, I'm like the music guru who knows everything on Wikipedia and like the discographies of every band. But like whenever I'm actually like on the internet talking to people who are also about music, I'm like the uber pleb in the corner who just listens to pop music.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. Like, people think I'm an expert on music, and one time someone said to me, and I was like, "Why do you think that?" And I was like, "Well, you know more about it than me, so you must be an expert." I'm not an expert. I like music. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Um, oh, we went through this a little sooner than I thought. There was actually another one that I kind of cut out, but I guess we can touch on it real quick. Uh, so it's sort of two stories that brings to mind discussion. Basically, in one we have this show from Tonight Alive, sort of the pop punk band, who were playing a festival in Australia, Soundwave, I think. One of their fans tried to go close to the stage to get a high five from their singer, Jenna, and the guards basically tackled him to the ground for no good reason. Then Jenna proceeded to stop things, like hop down to the stage, and just defuse the whole situation, hugged the fan, and everything was good.
Yeah.
And then the other corner, sort of the opposite kind of situation, we have this Enter Shikari show, and I know you're a big fan of them. This Enter Shikari show where Rue Reynolds, is that how it's pronounced?
I think I say Rue, but I'm not sure. I've heard it pronounced both
Okay,
ways.
I'll say Rue for now. So Rue was like in the crowd, doing their stuff. When all of a sudden a fan grabbed him in the gonads, and the guy and Roots proceeded to punch him in the face, justifiably, I'd say. So it's sort of two sides of the same coin, this kind of situation, in terms of like conduct it shows. On one hand, we have security acting way out of hand for even the slightest of things, and on the other hand, we have what happens if there isn't enough security, and fans can just go ahead and grope their favorite bands. Like, it sort of brings into mind the discussion of like, what's the right balance, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm totally. I mean, in terms of the Shikari one, I'm not sure why he was in the crowd, but it probably isn't a good idea. But really people need to have certain boundaries when it comes to things they're fans of, and they need to know that that's an invasion of privacy. Well, that's absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like.
I feel like this topic is going to turn into another one of those. I think this. I agree. I think this. I agree. Moving on.
Yeah.
Which is why
Okay,
I sort of skipped it till the end. Which is why I almost cut it out. But you know, it's sort of a good thing to bring because I mean, going back to the two type security one, I remember back in October, I want to say, I saw this local band called the Frights that I actually interviewed on this channel. I've talked about them a couple times. Where it was it was at a college venue, so kind of more of a corporate place, where security was just tackling down every like stage diver and a bunch of moshers, and I saw them kick out like at least 5 people over the course of like the hour set that the Frights did.
I mean, I think that's definitely too tight. At the festival, I kind of understood it. You know, you don't jump over the barrier, even if you just want a high five. No one knows that you just want a high five.
Yeah,
I've never.
in that respect, there can be a bit of a devil's advocate argument. But you know,
I've never actually seen anyone get hurt or get kicked out of the show or anything. I've not actually been to many shows, but I'm also probably just lucky. But I saw Tonight Alive. Live back in 2013, and it definitely, I think she, Jenna, the lead singer, did a good thing in that, and I think she's so good at interacting and controlling the crowd, and it doesn't surprise me that she would be the kind of person to do this and sort that out. I mean, obviously, security, they were there for a reason, but they were just too rough with that.
yeah. yeah, I guess kind of the bottom line is that there does need to be sort of a balance, like whether you like no matter what side of it you are on in these two situations. Um, yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Um, no, not really. I think in both sides of the situation, both times the right things were done. I actually applaud Rue Reynolds on punching a person because, oh, obviously violence isn't the answer to these things, but it's totally understandable, and it's not like I don't think many people are going to get angry at him for doing this, and I think he did the right thing in a way.
Yeah, and one thing that just kind of came to mind is like the idea of like fan entitlement at shows. Like people think that I've seen comments on all the posts about this. Like, no matter how ridiculous it gets, even with this interest Curry situation, where like people think that just because you paid $20 to get into the show means that you can do literally anything, and no one should detain you for it, or
Mm-hmm.
that no one should think that what you're doing is bad just because you're a fan, therefore, and you bought their CD, therefore you can do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there was a situation where like a couple bands like had fans that were going on stage to take selfies like next to the musicians while they were playing. And I remember, like, I think it was Every Time I Die, like, the guitarist, like, kicked the phone out of the fan's hands, which I thought was, like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was a little overboard, but I still thought that was really
Yeah.
funny.
It frustrates me enough people using their phones in the crowd, so on the stage, yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, and the idea of, like, going on stage to take a selfie and, like, purposefully, like, belly flopping from the stage onto, like, people that you know are too light to carry you. Like stuff like that just is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what keeps me from going, or at least from being at like the very front of shows a lot of the time, even though I'm a fairly normal sized guy.
Yeah. I've never actually been at the front of a show. As I said, I've not been to many, so I suppose I just won't have had experience yet. But I know I've never seen anyone get hurt. But the things that I see on the internet about this kind of stuff, and usually I'm on the side of the security and stuff because a lot of time, like people just say, they feel like they're entitled to to do whatever they want, and they need to have those boundaries. Like just because they paid for it doesn't mean they can do anything.
Yeah. So if we don't have anything else to add, I think now might be a good time to wrap things up. You
Oh
think?
yeah, yeah. I think that's the end of the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Gone through all the
basic.
topics.
Yeah. I mean, ideally in future shows, we might like throw in a little segment at the end of it, maybe a little Q&A thing, maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
recommendations thing. Maybe lists. We'll see. We'll kind of figure that out later. If you guys actually have any ideas or any feedback about the show from this first episode, then feel free to let us know in the comments. Ideally, that we should be doing this like every other week. I'd say would probably be a good rate to do it at, just so we have enough stories for each one without getting too fillery about it. We might add some more segments, like I was saying. But yeah, you have anything to add?
Not much. I don't know. I feel like in future shows we'll probably be more comfortable if you were a bit turned off by this one. It was a bit, I don't know, we're just getting to know each other in the first place. And any suggestions for any segments or anything we can just do to improve the show, much appreciated.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know Sean Rewind Reviews, feel free to check out his channel. Again, link in the description if you're curious about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we don't have any kind of sign off for Mad Sounds, but
We will
yeah,
work one out. We will work one out. Promise.
stay mad. No, that's not going to be a thing.
No.
I just realized something that I forgot to mention. Was
Oh, go on.
that some of the working titles that we had for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just pull up the document here because there was some interesting ones. Like you gave me just a list of bands to maybe pick a song title from. I mean, as you guys
Mm-hmm.
can tell, we pulled this one from the Arctic Monkeys song of the same name from AM, And as you can tell, the opening theme music is me doing like a brief like theme song-ish version of that. So the three that basically we were down to four, and we picked Mad Sounds from that. But we also had "You're So Right," the Stroke song. That was probably the second place one. We also had
Yeah.
Dead on Arrival," the Fall Out Boy song. Sort of have some irony there. And "Glamorous Indie Rock and Roll," which I really wanted to name this at first, but realistically, it probably would have gotten old after a couple episodes.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I actually
yeah,
like that one, but it would have totally boxed us in. So
yeah, exactly. Even though I feel like there should be a show with that name at some point for something.
there will be,
Um,
I'm sure. Someone will steal this idea.
yeah, and we will sue them for all the royalties in the world, like Tom Petty. Um, Thank you guys for watching the first episode of Mad Sounds. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of an audio glitch thing we're having trouble figuring out, so the rest of the episode was kind of cut out, but it was kind of just unnecessary little outro stuff. You kind of got the gist of it. So check out Sean's channel in the description if curious, and we'll see you next time.